Hello and welcome to the Sacred Light Collective podcast. You are with Ali. Hello and welcome, dear friends. Thank you for joining me. I am feeling so much this week. I've been so undecided about what I wanted to share in this week's episode. And funnily enough, I've actually tried to record this a couple of times, and each time I have been overtaken by a coughing fit and a lot coming through my throat chakra. And I can thank the Eclipse Energy. How are you feeling? Are you feeling this eclipse energy? And how are you feeling this energy? Because it feels like we're all experiencing it a little bit differently. And I'd been feeling relatively comfortable with what was coming up for me or moving through and kind of understanding what's been here for me. And then it's been so interesting in recording this podcast episode, how it started to unearth a little bit more, and particularly through my throat chakra, as you will know if you've been with me on this journey from the beginning, about how much there is for me to really see myself and speak my truth, and to really share and to express myself through my voice. So fascinating, and we'll see how it goes. So bear with me if my voice comes in and out as we go, but I'm feeling like I'm aligned to what is here now and what is ready. And as a side note, I kind of feel like this is the power, isn't it, when we step into action. And sometimes things don't work out the way we would want them to, maybe like me recording this 2 or 3 times before actually hitting the final one. But there was something to be received in each of those episodes. And actually I kind of went away and sat with, what was coming up and what my throat was really bringing through and what needed to be witnessed and felt. And that really kind of sums up how I've been feeling this eclipse energy and how I've been moving with that. Because so much has been downloading and there's been so much that I wanted to share. But as I've tuned into our collective higher selves and our guides, I'm really feeling a bit more congruence around what is valuable to share here, or what wants to be shared here with you. And I think that is interesting too, that sometimes it's allowing ourselves to percolate a little bit in the energy, isn't it? It's like sitting in what's there and really uncovering what is there to be shared, and then what is there just for us to feel into and to reference. And I really do feel like too that this episode is carrying an energy frequency. And so there's a lot that can just be received in this episode's energy, if that makes sense. So I want to preface before I dive in a little bit more that just in this moment, open your heart and just tune into the energy and the frequency that's coming through this episode, that's coming through beyond the words, and seeing what is sparked in you, seeing what is open and expanded within you. Because while the eclipse energies have been quite intense, and as I said, feeling that personally, but I've also been seeing it and hearing that from many of those in my community. And I think pretty much you can't open social media without someone speaking about the eclipse energy. And with what we know about eclipses, it's understanding that it's time for change. And, when we're stepping into change and when we're feeling into change, that this can bring endings and closure and completion. And, I feel like I've been talking about that a lot over the last few weeks, the last few episodes, or actually what feels like months now. But there's been a lot of this feel in that energy building and culminating in this eclipse. And I think that the ring of fire, as it's known as, kind of fits some of the fiery intensity with which, that's been coming through, the squeeze. I've actually been feeling a lot of physical heat in my body, and not like a fever. It's an energetic heat. But I'm just feeling the intensity of the fire, and I've noticed that it comes up anytime that I'm bringing something through in my awareness, or I'm transmuting and transforming through something in my body. It's been random, like the soles of my feet or my armpits, like really, really strange places. But I've just been leaning into what my body's been been sharing with me as well. So I also want to counter that, though, by saying that as much as we're working with this ending energy, completion, and I've been speaking to people too who are really feeling the intensity and the depth, so you might be one of those who's really in a bit of a dark night of the soul. And there is this opportunity to really shed some deep layers here. And, the deep stories, the patterns, the programming, the beliefs that we've been holding on to or have been part of our armor, a part of our state of being. And there's a lot of also timeline energy that I've been feeling connected to that, in that we're merging a lot of timelines through this as well. And, even myself personally connecting to what's been shared with me from my guides as different aspects of myself on different timelines in different realities. And, having that called in and brought into oneness, into wholeness in this embodied timeline, in this embodiment. But as I said, stepping into or understanding that, we're working with change. And while typically when we think about the change, and what I've been speaking into primarily is the ending, the closure, and the completion energy, I've also been feeling very much the polarity of that, the light of that. So we've talked a lot about the dark side of that, and you might be feeling the dark side of that. But I also want to recognize and to honor the light that's there, and that there is so many people too that are stepping into the new, into new realities, into new consciousness, and stepping into this energy of hope, love, truth, and grace, and the presence of higher self, the unlimited self, the multidimensional self. And so I want to share that because I want you to also not feel like you need to be in the dark side of it, that there is many people who are really receiving themselves in this change and embracing change, with new opportunities presenting, new perspectives coming forward. And so really meeting yourself where you're at in this. I think sometimes too that we can sometimes feel like we're missing something, or we can go digging and searching for something because, I'm feeling the change, but I'm not feeling it in the way that everyone's talking about or that everyone's experiencing. And I want to bring this back to you, because I want to bring this back to the connection that ultimately what this energy is offering you is an opportunity to connect within and remember more deeply who you are, to connect to your truth more deeply, seeing yourself beyond the mind, beyond the beliefs, the programming and the patterns, beyond, what you have been told by society, by your family, by friends, by the world around you. Because this is a time, friends, where we're moving into time where it's to stop seeing yourself through another's eyes and to start seeing yourself through your own inner eyes. So our guides really wanted me to share that with you, that, whether you're feeling the, let's say, quote unquote, positive or negative sort of aspect of this, the light or dark aspect of the energies at this time, that this is an opportunity, a powerful opportunity to connect even more deeply within. Bringing, your eyes, like new eyes, new awareness, a shift of perception to who you are within. And I've got to say, I'm feeling this so much. My guides have shared with me earlier in the week, as I was navigating some of the things coming through, that they were really calling me to sit with the stillness within myself, to connect into myself more deeply. And I always kind of have this really, really, is there more that you're asking me to do? How much more can I do here? And then I feel like my guides get quite sassy with me in these moments, because it's like, yes, and that there's always more that you can go. There's always more surrender. There's always more leaning in. There's always more to remember, to feel, to see, to know. And of course, there was one particular occasion that I was really in resistance to it. I was really fighting it, but I just honored myself and I sat and just allowed myself to drop in and to put aside the way my mind was raging and wanting to pull me left, right, everywhere but going within. And I just had this beautiful moment of really connecting to myself in that, really connecting and feeling and seeing what was there for me and why I was in this resistance and what needed to just be felt. And then, I don't know how long I was sitting there, but then there was just this breakthrough moment where I could really connect to my breath, and I could just let go and feel this softness, feel this openness, and really more connection internally within. And it's such an interesting journey, isn't it? Because it really always comes back to us. It always comes back to sitting with ourselves and connecting with ourselves. And don't get me wrong, there's also what I feel, and I want to add to this as well, because as always, this is my experience, what I'm feeling, but tune in, discern for yourself. Movement has also been really powerful, moving my body, just getting out for a walk every day, and just feeling like even some stretching and some body movement sometimes to assist with the breathing. So trust what you feel within. But there were moments where I was really called to just sit. But like movement and creating some of that momentum energy through the body is also really powerful to balance this too. But the key message from my guides has really been about creating this deeper connection with the resistance, with the uncomfortableness. And something that some of you might have heard me speak about a lot is becoming comfortable in the uncomfortable. And I feel like that is the ever evolving journey about allowing ourselves to lean into whatever is feeling uncomfortable, whatever that resistance is. And that can be super challenging when you're in the deep, dark, intense depths of whatever it is that you're experiencing. That can be uncomfortable. That can be challenging, that can be really confronting. Of course, it's uncomfortable, but the invitation with what is here for us, particularly with these energies, is to sit in the fire, is to sit in that uncomfortableness, to sit in that resistance. And you don't necessarily need to do anything. What I really felt was quite powerful was that in most cases, it was just asking for some acknowledgement. The whatever was coming, the truth that was coming up, just wanted to be acknowledged, to be seen, and to be felt. And my guides are saying that probably 70% of the time, that is what is here for us. And then there's the 30% of the time where we need to explore that a little bit more. But I also have noticed in a lot of my client sessions is the guidance coming through about going slow and steady, because there is also the pattern that a lot of us have that we want to push through, and we want to push through without really feeling it. We want to push through so that we can tick it and say that's done and move on to the next thing. We want to push through so that we can avoid some of the uncomfortableness, and really all that we're doing is we are escaping from that, or we're pushing it to one side, and we're not really allowing the depth of feeling. And that is really what is here under the banner of change, isn't it? I know for me, it's the understanding that I have been calling in this change, that I know that it's time for change, and navigate the change to walk where I want to walk. That means I have to face the truth. That means I have to become truth. That means I have to feel all parts of that truth. We sometimes get caught in the story about things being good or bad or positive or negative. I mean, even the light and the dark somewhat, don't we? And I think that we have built this story into change so much, where we always see change as a not so great thing. And again, I want to bring the polarity to that, the light to that, to say that we're actually all seeking change on this journey, on this spiritual journey, this personal growth, your evolution, your ascension, whatever you want to call it. We are all actually moving with the intention of creating change, of eliciting change, of enacting change, of becoming change. And we can sometimes forget that we're also experiencing what we've asked for, what we're seeking, what we desire for who we are becoming. So I wanted this episode to really highlight that, because our guides were really wanting there to be that balance of understanding as well, because that is helpful when we are in these periods and when we are navigating this. And sometimes just being in the surrender of, okay, I asked for this change, I'm open to the change, and I'm willing to sit in this and receive what's here. Not digging for it either, as I said earlier, not necessarily digging for anything other than just being with it and just honoring it and just acknowledging it and witnessing that. And you might find that it's useful to have a notepad, a journal, where you might actually try to just kind of brain dump whatever is coming up for you, whatever you're feeling. I often find that's a really useful practice to just get everything out and to be able to see it with a little bit more clarity, because you've got it down on the paper and you can kind of see what is coming through. You can see where the patterns are going. And sometimes that itself is all that's needed. And you can come to the end and say, oh, okay, well, I don't feel like there's anything more there. Now I have the space to breathe. Now I have the space to really sit with the release of that, the transmutation of whatever emotion or pattern or thought process was coming through, story that was coming through. And sometimes it's just even talking that through yourself, when you go within and you connect to that and just working through it in the same way. Where are you feeling that in your body? How does that feel? What are the emotions coming up? Where is that tying up to? But letting it come to you, letting it rise to you. I think that we can get lost if we start searching and seeking for it. And I really feel what's been the powerful message coming through for me personally around this is letting it come to me, letting it rise up and come to me, because the change is here. The energy is bringing it forward, leaning in, acknowledging, accepting, receiving, and then seeing what action needs to be taken. Is there any action that needs to be taken? And I know that when we talk about accessing truth, like accessing our truth, it can be really confronting, but it's also so magnificent. It opens up so much. So just holding this intention of being willing to see and to connect to what the truth is for you without making it mean anything, just simply connecting to what is the truth here. What is truth? Because I think that, again, speaking personally, there are often times where my mind was taking me this week. It was wanting me to feel guilty. It was wanting me to feel angry. It was wanting me to bring up old stories and run the gambit of those stories again now. And I just sat with it every time. I leant in and I surrendered into the resistance and the uncomfortableness and said, okay, I hear that. I hear that. But that's not who I am at my core. That is not the truth of who I am. Show me the truth. Show me the truth. And what's been really communicated to me from my team in spirit, as I have received, as I said, so much around this in the last week, it's important for us to keep deepening and surrendering into the energy of what needs to be closed or completed. And then also surrendering into, well, what is here in the new awareness, the new reality, the new consciousness, right? Because all of this, as I said, is bringing us into the deeper relationship with ourselves. It is bringing us into alignment with our higher consciousness. We are bringing in this higher consciousness, this higher frequency of ourselves into our bodies now. And so we're creating the space for more of that, right? You can substitute higher consciousness for your truth, your heart, your higher self, your soul, your God self, oversoul, monad self, whatever you want to call that. But this is what we are being asked to open and receive and embody. because this is now not just about our personal ascension and our evolution, our journeys, but we are being asked to anchor this and ground this onto the planet right now. We're being asked to hold and bring in these new frequencies to also assist Gaia, our dear Mother Earth, for her ascension and evolution as well. And this is bringing us, right? This is bringing us into our multidimensional awareness that we are multidimensional beings. So much of what is coming through, and you might be identifying with this as well, and this might not yet be in your field, and that's okay. As I always say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't for now. But we are really experiencing and feeling and receiving aspects of our multidimensional selves. These aspects from other timelines, other realities that are seeking to be merged, that are ready to come into this merging embodiment, this oneness and this higher state of consciousness that you are connecting to. And this isn't always about, again, the guides have made it very clear that, sometimes when we look at this work about merging and or releasing or transmuting from other timelines, or you might know that as past life, parallel life, the other incarnations of you, that there isn't always a need to release, to clear, or transmute anything. There isn't anything necessarily that is always connected to a negative, quote unquote, experience, a trauma experience. But this is about also seeing the light of those experiences, bringing in the gifts, the talents, the skills, the abilities that you were using that are resourceful for you to be here now. Or, where you have created the life experience, the state of being, and bringing that into alignment with the wholeness of yourself now. And again, this is just, remember, this is just what I'm receiving. This is just my personal connection to the energies and what is downloading at my understanding right now too. With, there's a lot of puzzle pieces that have been dropping in, and some of them are starting to fit together and some maybe not quite there yet. But it just feels like we are that we're able to really bring in more of our multidimensional self into wholeness, into union, into embodiment in this physical form, in this incarnation at this time. So I've been also seeing how much more is available to us, particularly with my in-person session work. It's been really interesting how there's been this stronger emphasis on grounding and really creating a anchored connection to Gaia before we even begin with that. And as I asked my guides what this was in relation to, because it was like has been totally different to anything that I've done, even, from a few weeks ago. And what was shared with me was that this is assisting us by anchoring and grounding before we do anything, as really as a daily practice. It is helping us to ground and anchor these new frequencies, the new and the higher consciousness, the new energy that we are bringing through of ourselves, the presence of our whole multidimensional self within the physical body. And so that being grounded and anchored to Gaia is actually supporting us to hold these frequencies, particularly for our physical body, the nervous system, because that is also needing support to regulate the transition as the frequencies, the higher frequencies, are engaged in our physical form. And interestingly, I have also felt for a lot of people and have communicated to a lot of my clients that, I felt like the 12-strand DNA has been activated within our bodies and is being activated. And that feels like the way Spirit was sharing that with me as well, that there is different layers and different levels and different intensities that is coming through because of this very reason, that the physical body needs to be attuned as well. And that is, again, the importance of the grounding, because it helps regulate the nervous system, regulate the body, enable the integration of that to take place, and to hold that without sort of bouncing the spirit aspect out of the body, without creating that freeze or shut down the disassociation or escape in the body. And that part of this is, again, this calibrating to this new frequency and consciousness that we're able to access of ourselves, but to also support the collective humanity's ascension, and the frequencies coming in, and the earth frequencies for Gaia and her ascension. In the past, we would have heard a lot about the new earth, and I guess it's equivalent to that, but I think that we are all, the Gaia, us individually, humanity as a collective, we are ascending quite rapidly, and a lot of that is shifting and moving quite quickly. So the more grounded we are, the more connected we are to Gaia, particularly with our physical body, our earthly aspect, we're able to bring that union in with a lot more ease. So it's creating, for me, what has created is this deeper understanding of the oneness and the unity that you would have heard me talk about, mind, body, spirit. I'm now feeling that on such a different level, like really about this multidimensional aspect of ourselves, our physical body, of course, our mind, and also Earth, or Gaia, the planet as well. There's this symbiosis between all of those aspects that I can feel that we're moving towards, and that we are working towards to kind of assist each other in this flow of frequencies. My guides actually shared with me this analogy that it's a bit like, you've been on this, they showed me like the old sort of radio station, the old radio, where you dial a frequency to get the radio station. And this was shared in a slightly different context, but I can feel the energy of this coming in around this now. And the same applies, is that we've been on this one particular channel, this frequency that was really easily able to access. Everyone was on it. But now there's like 10 more other, up to 12, let's say, more channels that we can now access. But we need to fine tune some of those a little bit. They take a little bit more to access, but we're going to access those streams of consciousness, those multi-dimensional aspects of consciousness to use to support our journey personally. Maybe it's something that you feel called to do in the community. It's a way that you're sharing and expressing that in the world. And then there's this element that it might be for Gaia. It might be for the planet. And, part of that is going in that direction, is being shared in that way, those frequency as well. And so this is opening us up to access more, and to be able to not just receive more, but to share more of that. So the grounding and anchoring is something that is being reiterated to me time and time again. And I, personally, that was a game changer for me when I first opened to a lot of this energy work. And I had this mentor who really showed me how important it was to take my focus off my upper chakras and come into the lower chakras, particularly the first three, the root, the base, the sacral, and the solar plexus, because I hadn't given them a lot of love. And I've really been on a journey with that over 2 years now, I think about it. And I am only really now this year in 2023 really understanding the power and importance of really creating that powerful, safe foundation in the earth, and really making that a priority of not just for me and my journey and coping with what I'm receiving, supporting my body and my nervous system, but also in this way of channeling the energy and receiving of consciousness, receiving the codes, receiving whatever is asking to be expressed through me. The ability to access these higher more powerful frequencies is coming because I'm able to be more grounded. I'm able to really anchor that and hold that in my body and in the earth. And it's so interesting because I reflect at even the change with the energy and the flow of my sessions from now to even the start of this year. And I credit the depth and the power, the potency that comes through because of this ability that I now have opened to about really understanding the importance of the anchoring of my pillar, the anchoring of my own light and body and higher consciousness to create the space and the container for this to come through, to be the clearest, purest channel that I can be. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without spending that time of really connecting into to grounding, really creating the roots, the grounding cord, and really anchoring into my relationship with nature, with Gaia, with the heart womb of the planet as well. And my dear friends, what our guides are just dropping into me now to share with you is also to remember that there is an aspect of this mission, if you like, this mission that we chose to come in form to be able to do these things through our physical form. There are things that our team in spirit that they can't do here on the planet because they don't have the physical form. So we chose to come and be this embodied spirit in form, this embodied multidimensional self in form to assist humanity, to assist the collective, to assist Gaia and the planet, the evolution and the ascension of us as one. So I'm being asked to really just mention that and to bring that into your awareness, the remembering that you chose this journey. You chose this journey to be in form, that you put your hand up and said, yes, I'm coming in form to come and, to play my part, to enact my mission. And that even if you don't know what that is specifically right now, what I can tell you is what you're being asked to do as part of this mission right now is to just be embodied, to really bring yourself into the deeper union of your body, bring in this higher consciousness, your multidimensional self, and connect to Gaia, connect to the heart of the planet. So just to recap, I'm really feeling just to share that reminder or offer the invitation for you to lean into whatever it is that is coming up for you, whether that feels good or not so good, just allowing yourself to lean into what is here, to go within, to connect even more deeply to yourself, to create the time for stillness. Maybe that's time for movement, to really feel your body, to feel what is coming up within you, to see what is being reflected through your relationships or your experiences in life. What is mirroring back to you at the moment? What is there? What truth is calling to be seen by you right now? And you don't need to dig for anything. This is about sitting with your heart, your soul, your higher self aspect. It is about sitting with your body, sitting with your mind, all the inner child, inner teen aspects, letting whatever wants to be seen, to be heard, to come through. Not everything will require a physical change. There might be an aspect of you that's a belief or a program or a pattern that isn't serving you now, and that is wants to come up to be offered into this ring of fire through this eclipse energy. And that might be something that you just take those slow and steady steps through. I definitely feel like we don't need to jump through this. It's all about slow and steady. It's all about the small incremental steps through the change to create empowered and embodied change. And that kind of goes against everything the mind is going to tell you that the mind wants to do. But again, guides are dropping in to remind you to slow and steady wins the race, is what I hear to say. And you might not be feeling any of this intensity right now. This may not be in full resonance with you, but I want you to, park this, take the seed that's been planted here, and know that when this moment arises for you, when this pocket of change comes forward for you, that you come back to this and that you can use this to help you navigate what is here, and just to let you know that you're not alone, that we're all walking through these periods and these energies. And it is about just really honoring yourself, showing up for yourself, and being there for yourself in a loving, compassionate way. And knowing that some days these will be easier than other days, and to let yourself feel it, to feel it. And of course, if this feels like you need support, and if this feels too big to just sit with on your own, reach out to a trusted friend, share with someone how you're feeling. I've had many conversations myself too this week, just bouncing things off someone else, having people contact me to bounce things off me. A lot of sessions, as I said, a lot of sessions have revolved around this very topic as well, this very energy. And, you might have a trusted practitioner or a modality that you can lean into. I have online sessions available. So if you feel like you just want some help to see, what's coming in the energy for you, or to see what might be ready to be released into the fire. And maybe this is about empowering you to step into the change. Maybe the new opportunity, right? The new awareness and the perception is here, but you're just not quite able to step into it. Whatever it is, just know that, to ask for help, that it's okay to ask for help. You're not doing this alone. We're all in this together. We are all in this together. And I'm holding you in my heart, dear friends, and sending love out to each and every one of you, wherever you are in your journey, whatever you are navigating at the present. The light, the love, the divinity within me honors the light, the love, the divinity within you. Namaste.